Good evening, everyone. Wishing you all a very happy Independence Day. I hope I'm audible. Just if few of you can just put it on chat if you all can hear me.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Yes,
All right,
ma'am.
that's great. So my name is Bobby Singh. I'm the program director at SDBI, and I'm going to be your host for today's session. And I welcome all of you to the very first session of our new webinar series, Data Darbar. Here we are all set to dig deep into the field of data science and have discussions about several quirks of this new, fast growing, and sometimes vague field of data science. And without wasting any more time, I would love to introduce our guest speaker for today. He is a technology evangelist, Mr. Sauvik Banerjjee. Mr. Sauvik Banerjjee is the CTO of Tata's newest, youngest, and the most aspirational, futuristic business, Tata Digital. He's currently focused on building various internet and tech entities for the whole of Tata Group on behalf of Tata Digital. He's presently working on building India's first true super app and building Tata Digital through many acquisitions such as Big Basket, 1MG, and many others. He has a research background on NLP and AI and has been a serial entrepreneur in UK, having exited twice while he was in the northeast of England. He has donned many hats as a leader, from being an entrepreneur to being the MD of Accenture Digital, CTO of SAP, and global e-commerce head of Infosys. With over 250 internet and digital platform implementations across 4 continents, he's considered as the top 6 event technologists with Indian origin. He came back to India after 23 years in 2015 and went on to build Reliance Jio as the lead architect, and then transitioned over as CTO of Tata Industries, and he built Tata Click from ground up. And we're very proud to say that Mr. Sauvik has been instrumental in building the curriculum at SDBI for BSc as well as MSc courses in data science, and has given valuable contribution in building the gap between academics and industry. So welcome, Mr. Sauvik, and thank you so much for joining in today.
Thank you, Bobby. Can you hear me right?
Yes, it's perfect.
And you can see me right as well?
Yes. So I am going to dive in directly to understanding about your new ventures and the spree of acquisitions at Tata Digital, and what is it that you're currently working on in the data science space specifically?
So hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Sauvik. Data science is an extremely large ecosystem across the world today. The best example, which you all will remember, is following the entire progress of the Indian Olympics team. And if you read Neeraj Chopra's entire background, how every millisecond, microsecond, every centimeter, meter was thought through over the last 5 years. If you look at the background of men's and women's hockey team, how data-driven were they in figuring out every opposition's biomechanics and analysis and performance states. If I move on from the world of sports, data science is embedded in what you watch today, example, Hotstar to Netflix, to Amazon Prime, to Sony Live. Every piece of viewership is segmented, targeted, and it goes back to the original theme to cater to that sort of content. Data is embedded, data science is embedded in industries such as manufacturing. Without data science, COVID would have been a very difficult war to work towards. Data which derives you insight, basis on the analysis, manifested in taking decisions, is the overarching principles of data science. So, Bobby, yes, those were, data science is very big, and we will talk about it much more. I have been, of course, building Tata Digital, Tata Group's newest, youngest, most vibrant baby. Yes, building the SuperApp. Yes, there's been lots of acquisitions and mergers, and we will keep on building Tata Group's internet ecosystem through Tata Digital. And the work has commenced. It's a beautiful organization we have built, hundreds of students. 50% of our organization is from campus trainees from various institutes and colleges. And data science plays a big part in all the platforms, products of internet apps we are building. And that's it. That's where we are today.
So that's great to hear. Since you mentioned about COVID, I would like you to shed some light on what has been the impact on the field of data science. We're still in the middle of this. Just the second wave, we don't know about the third wave starting, but what has been the impact so far? We've been hearing everybody saying that this pandemic has accelerated the entire process and has made digitalization sort of compulsory for all the fields, and which is why data science is becoming all the more prominent. What are your thoughts about it?
See, without collecting data, so let's break data science into what we ourselves experienced. Every COVID test, every RT-PCR, every vaccination is now documented. It's documented because it's systematic. It has to go through CoWIN, it has to go through the systems of record. Now, when you gather data, start analyzing data. Now we know that the third variant is mitigated or is getting mitigated with the growth of vaccination. How is that statement? How is the US able to come out, and the President of America able to come out and say that we have won the war against COVID, and everybody is allowed to take their masks off and remain still cognizant, keep getting the 100% vaccination for that country based on data, based on every state of data, what they see, whether it's Massachusetts, whether it's Pennsylvania, whether it's Wisconsin. Every state is mining data, collating data, both affected, vaccinated, and monitoring of the data. So is UK. So is India. India is a 1.4 billion people. India is already having 50 to 60 crore vaccinations on the go. And all that Delta variant noise can already be mitigated with data, which is powered through the application of logic, mining of data, manifesting the data with insights, and then taking decisions whether to keep the lockdown till 4 o'clock or whether to keep the lockdown up till 10 p.m. in the night. That's all based on data, whether that's Maharashtra, whether it's Madhya Pradesh, whether it's West Bengal. It's all based on data science. The science of data is allowing the planet to take decisions every week. How much vaccinations to be pushed in one part of the country, to how much monitoring and how much restrictions to keep in the other part of the country. So you can't take any decisions without mining the data, getting the insight of the data, because data is continuously getting collated. And that's just COVID. Data science has entrenched in every part of our lives.
Absolutely. I think government has done a fabulous job in incorporating technology with respect to dealing with COVID, and especially in healthcare, the application of data science is increasing with the day, and especially I think the maximum impact that we've seen is in the healthcare space. So and absolutely without data science, this would have been a very difficult task. So absolutely agree with you on that. Would still like you to shed some light on what is the impact that it has had on various other fields. Taking, for example, a company like Tata Digital, do you see any impact specifically because
I'll give you a, now ask yourself one question. In the last 2 years of lockdown, would you be able to survive if Amazon, Flipkart, Tata Click, Big Basket, NetMeds, PharmEasy, 1mg was not present, or Myntra, or for that purposes, online video consultation from Apollo to Tata Memorial, for that parlance, online video buy of your car to your washing machine. So the entire e-commerce industry has kind of kept the whole planet alive, because food, vegetables, pharmacy, medicines, normal healthcare, clothing was at our fingertips. And how did we do it? Through the power of data, where we could say that I will want to ship out a basket of eggs and a couple of liters of milk to this part of the country, to this part of the PIN code. What do we need to do? We need to be maintaining social distancing norms to who? The delivery providers, the bike riders. All of that data, how do I not go as a van? How do I go as a one-man army, position the truck, get yourself checked? Which buildings have got large multi-stories, which are small, which have got houses in whichever part of the country, whether it goes for medicine, whether it goes for products, whether it goes for groceries. All of that data, logistics and supply chain industry, continuously mined, continuously analyzed, continuously dissected, made segments out of it, based on data science modules and models. The programmers championed very advanced models saying that today, 20 lorries can go and deploy the goods in the next 6 slots, because these are immediate ones. There could be patients, there could be elderly folks, there could be our mom and dads potentially recovering from COVID. On the other hand, the data showed the government which are the buildings BMC or every corporation should ban because they've got 20, 30, 40 patients of COVID and they shouldn't come down. That's based on data. Working with people like MyGate, working with people like Dunzo, working with people like eCart, working with people like Delivery, working with people like Swiggy and Zomato, where Cloud Kitchen, where we wanted to eat our favorite dishes and the restaurants were shut. And the data said, okay, we can go and deliver. This restaurant can go and deliver. It used to be normal e-commerce food tech. But now data said, you can deliver there, you can't deliver there. You can't deliver because that building hasn't had a COVID patient. You can't deliver. You can only come and keep it with the security. The security will take protection and give, because of course, food, soup, everything is necessary for COVID. Not everybody in COVID was going through fatality. So without data, we were blind. That's the beauty. I would say if the world survives, it would have survived based on 3 key things. Human beings' willpower to fight, the frontline workers and the governments jointly. And number 3 is the power of an entity called data. If the world survives and recovers, these 3 entities have made the world come out. And data is, I'm not ranking in order of 1 and 2 and 3. Each of them are 1, 1, 1 probably. But those 3 are the critical ones. And I think we are getting there without a shadow of doubt.
Truly, very, very beautifully put that if we self-analyze and wonder that if you had to go through this pandemic, the technology and the data science support, things would have been much, much more difficult. So,
Correct.
and we have to give to companies like, as you mentioned, Zomato and all these e-commerce platforms have done beautifully well, exceptionally well in incorporating and fighting well and changing their business models accordingly. And data science has been having a huge impact on how these business models are structured, uh, sort of in
Because
this
without
new manner.
data, that's absolutely right, Bobby. Let me add to that point. Without data, the decisions wouldn't have been able to be taken. When you see that the COVID cases were rising and one of the states have to shut it down, when you realize that we have to conduct polls, because the country has to function, we can't
Right.
just all of us keep ourselves locked up. I mean, to be honest, I'll tell you, the last 2 years, I have been in the house 2 months in the first lockdown and 1.5 months in the second lockdown. From March till date, fair few hundreds and thousands of us in Tata Groups, 112 companies have done office 5 days a week because the country has to survive. The country has to recover. We have to protect the country. And we were blind without data. Once we got data, say example I'll give you. When we were short of oxygen cylinders, Tata Steel was producing 30 metric tons of oxygen for the normal plant line. We said, stop the plant line. We will go and use these for the nearby hospitals, and they'll go to all of Jharkhand, all of Uttarakhand, all of Bengal. But when we saw the shortage, every day the production of oxygen cylinders from 30 to 600 to 800 tons every day Tata Steel was producing, like they were producing steel. Without data, we don't know what's the growth, and we need to produce in 7 days to save X million people. When you think about the power of data, it did one important thing for the governments, for the leaders of the world, for the corporate leaders of the world, for the technology leaders of the world. It allowed us to take informed decisions based on every industry, or else we would have flown blind, taken bad decisions. Probably we could have lost a lot more people. So anyways, that's the advantage of having data powered by scientific instruments, algorithms, and accuracy. It's never 100% accurate. If you get to an accuracy of 70, 80, 90, you've already done a lot of value addition to every human being's life.
Precisely. So basically, making business decisions and working in the data science field are sort of very closely interrelated to each other in today's world. So I had a few more questions, but because of time constraint, now I'm going to pass on this further question series to our student panel, who are extremely excited to have a conversation with you. We have Anudnya and Darshan from our master's batch, and we have Eshaan and Mahotsav from our bachelor's batch, who have a few questions. They're representing our student community. They've had a small analysis, asked a lot of questions, and filtering, and they're going to be taking over and having a small chat with you. So over to you guys. All the best.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Very good evening, everyone, and happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day to you all.
Happy Independence Day, yeah. Today we are honored to have you, sir. So thank you so much for joining. I and my mates Eshaan, Darshan, and Mahotsav will be continuing the discussion.
Okay.
So first of all, let's start.
So first rules.
Yeah.
In England and America, in any university or college, the word sir doesn't exist. India, it exists. I respect it. I have a lot of affection for it, but I can't be called sir. I can be only called Sauvik.
Sauvik, sir.
When you call sir, you make me look old. So don't call me sir. Seriously. Nobody in India calls me sir. Everybody in India calls me Sauvik, including every every batch I go and recruit from. First name for me.
But it's quite awkward.
It will be a little
It's
tough,
quite
but you'll get
awkward.
there.
Yeah. Okay.
Go on. What's your question?
So we'll start our discussion. So first of all, you might came across like such questions very frequently, but even we wanted to know that you represented the team of West Bengal in Ranji Trophy, and now you are a CTO. So we are curious to know that what motivated you to choose this journey from a professional cricketer to a techie. Can you just tell us?
I love this question. Every time I get this question, it's always the best question in the session. You see, it'll be interesting if you go to Google and you Google Sauvik Banerjjee technologist, and if you Google Sauvik Banerjjee geo and cricket, there are more links on geo and cricket together. But the beauty is, I have been a professional sportsman for many years. I started playing professionally, represented under 16 Bengal, under 19 Bengal, played for university, got selected to play for India universities, India under 19. Then in India, you must know, club cricket is the backbone. Still they are considered the backbone, even in the world of T20 and IPL. All great cricketers come out from clubs, and clubs are division, first division, second division, third division. And in Calcutta, I started playing as a professional for one of the premier clubs, Mohun Bagan and East Bengal. They had equivalent cricketing lineage. I got picked. My first captain was, I think, Arun Lal and Sabah Kareem. And my colleagues were Deep Das Gupta, Rohan Gavaskar, Devang Gandhi, Lakshmi Ratan Shukla, of course, my dearest Maharaj Da, Saurav. So I played cricket with Saurav. He was 3 years elder to me. He's still a very dear friend. Always we are very much in touch. And he is an inspiration. And I started playing cricket for Bengal, played a lot of games, one days, whatever it I played. Didn't get too many 4-day games, but used to play a lot of games for Bengal's first class tournaments. Ranji Trophy is just one tournament. There's about 8 tournaments, like Buchi Babu, Moinudullah, then Wilkes Trophy in those days, then many other 1-day games and 2-day games. There should be many large formats. I soon realized that I wasn't good enough. And even if I was good enough, the climb to play for India and sustain is competing with 1 million people. There was no IPL. There was no domestic cricket to fund your career. You either get a sports quota job and settle in life. And I was too hungry, too greedy to not settle for a very mediocre life. Too aspirational. I used to go to England to play as a professional sportsman, as an overseas pro for premier clubs and minor counties. That led to my father. Of course, I was a very good student in maths and English I was pretty good at. So I kept on studying. I did a migrational master's in UK, and then I started doing my research, got my first research doctorate on neural network powered natural language processing on search. That was my first doctorate. Then I started my startup. I was still playing as a professional, but I wasn't playing cricket. I was playing cricket and I was playing as a professional. I was playing professional rugby for Hertfordshire in the Hertfordshire Tours. So that led to me my own startup. A lot of community, a lot of sportsmen who were very full stack people like me. And then my second startup, and slowly cricket took a back seat and technology took a front seat. I went on to do more research, more entrepreneurship, and then went on to lead large organizations. I still play cricket. I still follow cricket. I probably follow every sport in the world. I don't have an MBA, but sports has been my MBA because I learned team building, conflict management, lead by example, P&L management, because when you run a team, you have to run the entire P&L. I've run many large teams in clubs, You learn behavioral management, you learn man management. So I always say my MBA is my trade. So that's how the transition happened.
This was really very fascinating. Yeah, obviously. We have to learn a lot from this, like transitioning from cricketer. Yeah, that's really very heart touching, and we are
Next
more
question.
focused on. Okay.
I'll tell you something before your second question.
Yeah.
If you don't walk, run, or play any kind of sport, if you don't like sports, just walk and run. There are simple things in life which people should know, especially your age group. The blood circulation in your brain allows my left and right brain to focus, right? And my frontal cortex fundamentally maneuvers and makes me think, or even this thumbs up is my frontal cortex telling my thumbs. So till the blood circulation doesn't happen, sitting in a chair coding doesn't work. Go for a run, exercise, do yoga, play a sport all your life. The more blood circulation in your brain, the more code you will break. The more blood circulation in your brain, the more mathematical models you will invent. The more blood circulation in your brain, you will build billion-dollar businesses.
Okay, let's move on to the next question.
Okay.
Yeah. So learning statistics has transformed from being more theoretical to being more practical based now. So
Correct.
what should be our approach towards learning statistics in current time?
Statistics is crux, stats and maths. See, the reason why I was working with Prateek and Bobby on this course was data science is going to be there for the next as a prima facie pivotal subject in our lives, like AI, like electricity, like water. Data science is going to be something similar to that. For that, you need to know maths, stats, and a strong grip on any of the language where you want to communicate, whether it's English, whether it's Hindi, or whether it's your native language. Statistics is key. Why? Data, accurate, cleansed data, when it comes, it has to be given the stature of statistics. The definition of statistics is clustering them, organizing them, and then making them available for mathematical models. A statistical model allows you to be linear thinkers. Manifestation of statistical model with a deep mathematical mind space allows you to become inventors with accuracy. I'll give you an example. When Da Vinci is one of my idols, he invented the Fibonacci sequence and it took 13 years to paint Mona Lisa. He was a sculptor and he was an aviation inventor. Must read about that human being, arguably the greatest inventor of in human history, according to me. A lot of people do consider. See, when he was drawing the Mona Lisa, his object was simple. I want from any corner of the room in a 260 degree, not 360 angle, the painting should look to me. So he created, because he was a mathematical brain, he started creating the rooms in terms of statistical cubes. If I take this angle of degree and I put a statistical model, will the painting brush strokes have a manifestation? And he kept on working on statistical models to figure out the brush strokes. He started the painting of Mona Lisa in 1503. He finished Mona Lisa in 1516. It took 13 years to finish one painting. And it took 3 hours to invent the Fibonacci sequence. He invented the Fibonacci sequence to see if Mona Lisa's brush strokes have a parity. And the Fibonacci sequence is a combination of 1 million coordinations of statistical models, which still gets used today. So statistics is baked in our DNA. If you look at COVID, what are we looking at? We're looking at stats continuously. In Olympic, what are we looking at? We're looking at stats. When IPL happens, what are we looking at? Stats. How's AB doing? How's KL Rahul doing? How's Sanju Samson doing? World Cup football, what are we looking at? Stats. Euro Cup, stats. How did Copa America? How are we doing? How did Neymar perform in the last 12 games? Stats. Stats is baked into our lives. When a movie does well on Netflix, and then in the pre-pandemic era, if you look at it, Rohit Shetty is a 100 crore director. What is 100 crore? It's a combination of Getty Galaxies all over the country and the Inoxes of this country with the occupation seats, 40% of seats continuously for 3 weeks makes a seating data, statistics of multiplexes, statistics of single screens, then statistics of visitors on the Amazon Prime, number of visitors per hour watching Simba. Combine all of that. It's a giga statistical data set, which you mine and then take a decision. If you put parameters saying that 10 billion visits in Amazon Prime for Simba, 200 crores in single screens and multiplexes in India, and another 100 crores across the world, a statistical model derives that Simba is a super hit.
That was very well explained. I think that's a very prominent question that, why statistics? Like I have to program, I have to do coding. Why should I even learn statistics? And,
that's why you learn statistics.
Absolutely.
Game of Thrones, why is Drogon happening? Based on the statistics Game of Thrones threw up in the world, saying that to HBO, you guys need to make Drogon. Because Game of Thrones arguably, statistically, has proved to be the biggest viewing series in the planet. Decision done. That's why stats is important.
Super. Let's have Eshaan now ask his question. Thank you so much, Anudnya.
Lovely questions.
Welcome everybody to Data Darbar. This is Eshaan Joshi, second year
Hi,
BSc
Eshaan.
student, and happy Independence Day to all. Hello, Sauviks sir.
Sauvik.
Yeah.
I'll keep on correcting.
So my question was that, as you said, statistics is very important, and to perform statistics at first place, we need a lot of data for more accuracy. So, but recently there's been an uproar by many countries and people that user privacy, data privacy. So, which has restricted a lot of companies from collecting tons of data. So, I wanted to know your thoughts on, can data profiling and user privacy coexist while maintaining some kind of accuracy for targeting individuals?
Eshaan, how many apps have you got on your phone? Have a check. Quickly have a check.
I'd say around 20, 23.
How many times have you read the entire terms and conditions?
Barely.
See, there's a world which is trying to say, don't look at my data. How many friends have you got on Facebook, and how many times I will answer your question through this mode of interaction. How many times do you log into Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter throughout the day, and how many times do you log into WhatsApp? Average 6 to 8 times?
I use only Twitter. Once or twice, not much.
Yes. How many times do you check your email?
Email, every hour or two.
And your email is with Gmail or Microsoft?
Both. I have to.
And Gmail belongs to?
Google.
And who's the CEO of Google?
Sundar Pichai.
And tell me, why was he asked to be present in front of the American Senate?
Google was just flouting rules.
It's been proved wrong. We ourselves download the apps without reading the TNC. Data profiling, we have ourselves given our entire data to Facebook because we want to connect with the world. Data profiling has been happening for the last 50 years. But on what? If a human being gets, my name is Sauvik, last name Banerjjee, my email address is Tata Digital, blah, blah, blah. I have a Gmail. Do you think if it gets hacked, what do they get? My personal email at work? And you think hacking is that simple? There's a hover around on data profiling. I am on the board of the Global Ethics and Community on AI with 70 other senators and journalists telling the people why AI shouldn't be scared of. See, data, Ration Dukan has my data. Everything actually. Tata Sky has my data. How will they come and install? If you abuse the data and give it to the hands of the wrong human being or the wrong community of human beings, that's unethical. Data profiling, without data profiling, how will you resolve a pancreatic cancer patient? You need to understand the data. You need to profile the human being. Without data profiling, how will you analyze why is KL Rahul getting hundreds and 80s in the first 2 test matches when he was dropped 12 months back? Without profiling the human being's data, how are you going to know that Neeraj Chopra was up for it this time with his James Sweater? Human beings need to be profiled, but in an ethical way. The question should be Sauvik sir or Sauvik or Dada. Will data profiling bending towards unethical usage, or data profiling should have an ethical usage? Without my profile, how will the government know that I am a voter or not? Without profiling me and my family, how will they know that I've given my vote to the right party or not? Or without my profile, or without my address and my first name, last name, mobile number, email address, how will any organization deliver milk and eggs? So profiling is important. Unethical profiling, selling the data without my explicit consent. Remember this phrase, explicit consent, or where there is implicit consent, the customer or the user should know. Nobody asked us to download the apps. It's our job to read them, but none of us do. So let's blame ourselves and not blame the community who's trying to help you get a better life. But there are bad human beings who wants your data to dent. Facebook's profiles get hacked, but not all 2.2 billion's Facebook profile gets hacked. You have to be careful about who you give your data to. You can't be cavalier about it, but you have to give your data to get better value out of somebody who wants to serve you. I want to go and take my family to a fantastic hotel in Rishikesh. If they don't know who is coming, Sauvik is coming, Eshaan is coming, or Bobby is coming, could be 10 youngsters and they could be given the best 10 rooms in one of the big Tajes. Or Sauvik is coming with his 2 kids and a wife and mom and dad. They should be given. I need to know the profile of Sauvik. Ethical usage, unethical usage. Explicit consent, implicit consent. Remember that. That's where the line is drawn.
Thanks a lot.
That's excellent. Some very interesting insights on data privacy as well as data profiling. Interesting question, Eshaan. Let's move on to our next student member. We have Darshan coming up next.
Hi, Darshan.
Hello, sir. Sir, no, Sauvik. Let's call you Dada.
That's best.
Hello, Dada. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Happy Independence Day. So, as you mentioned AI quite a times, let's talk about AI. Since AI is the future, and since it is still still in the beginning of its development. And it's actually a fictional question, but what do you think? Will AI ever take over humans if and when it reaches its full potential? That's my question.
This question used to bother me a lot 20 years back. Doesn't bother me anymore. Darshan, have you YouTube Boston Dynamics?
No.
You must. You all must. It's a company which is ahead, 20 years ahead of time, which has been bought by Google. It can make. Have you seen any of the videos where a robot is dancing, or holding the box and walking around in a shed, or walking through the snow? That's Boston Dynamics. See, the machines are given neural, let's call it the neural power. But does that mean a machine becomes Mark 42 in Iron Man 3? Science has always been inspired by science fiction. Yeah, if a man can learn how to make a rocket from YouTube videos, everything falls back. And he was a banker. He was inventor of PayPal. And he's trying to send human beings to moon. Sorry, Mars. Moon he's already covered moon. Machines need commands and syntaxes, whether it's neural syntaxes, whether it's HTML syntaxes. Physical robotics doesn't use any of your web technologies. Physical robotics uses hardware and software command sets. You guys might be playing around with Raspberry Pi. A syntax and a command is still a code. Artificial intelligence is 1 millionth percentile of a human brain, or even if the robot is asked to run, talk, dance. And Alexa, Siri, Cortana, Google, Home, and every chatbot you are coming across, it's 1 millionth percentile of a human brain. Because the human brain, William and Hirsch, took an imprint of the human brain, and 1 millionth percentile was manifested through a mathematical model, then manifested into physical robotics. You should read the history of robotics. Then all of these cloudy questions will go away. Without neural syntax and commands written by the fingers of people like you, a robot can't move. Brain computing interface, which is making a machine assembly robot through a graphical interface saying to a vegetable human being is completely paralytic. I give a command through BCI saying, do you want chapatis or rice? And a graphical spike goes off and it says he wants rice. The human being can't, he's in a vegetable state of coma. So the brain is functioning. That syntax in that machine building model is a humanly written code. Forget 500 years. Human being will make humanoid smarter than them. But that humanoid will not be able to navigate every millisecond without the syntax written by a human being. Now, if you allow the 1 millionth whole human being, and think of it, 7.2 billion into 1 million brain DNA type, entire brain is an ID, into 7.2 billion, into do the permutation combination. Give that to the biggest robotics company in the world. They might build it. They might have evidences where they might try to do something funny, but there is another startup down the road who will obstruct that. Like if you're playing Fortnite, and if you're playing any Fortnite or you're playing Tomb Raider, you are competing against yourselves and community of people. Like there will be funny ones, there'll be good ones defending it. But a robot taking over the human community like Cybertron or like Cyberdyne Systems in Terminator 2, there'll be far better movies made with more logical data than those two. Not in the near future. Will they take over? No chance. By the time they get up to speed, we would have pivoted another 300 years as a human brain.
Yes, sir. That was really a great answer. That's what the answer I wanted.
Read the history of robotics. Read the history of robotics. It's all there. I'm just evangelizing knowledge.
So I think this is an ongoing debate, and I'm sure we're going to continue having this question raised by students and everybody else, that whether AI will take over or no.
As long as the students don't depend their life on BuzzFeed and InShots, and as long as they read, they will answer these questions themselves. It's all there. If you go through MIT Media Labs, you will see. If you go through all the greatest TED Talks, you will see the answer is there. It's the fact that our student community is a little bit dependent on BuzzFeed, InShots, and Instagram, and the WhatsApp University. Doesn't add value anyway.
Interesting. So we have one more student who, he's a student, international student from Nepal, and is very curious, has a very interesting question. Before that, if you don't mind, we have one person from the audience who's raising his hand again and again and wants to ask a question.
Looks he's.
Do you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Chinmay, go ahead. Please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, sir. Good evening. It's really good to have you on this panel and also us to join this. It's really appreciated, sir. Thank you so much, and happy Independence Day to everyone. So my question is, I am pursuing, prepared myself to pursue data science. I come from an IT background itself, but I'm more passionate about tourism. I am a IT BSc student of Patkar College itself, but I was more dominated to work in tourism field, and the sustainable tourism as well as inbound tourism, which is going to be the big sector for tourism in India. The tourism industry for now.
What is your question?
So it's like how to figure out and how to see the growth in the upcoming post-COVID in tourism sector in aspect of inbound tourism as well as sustainable tourism. How to get a number of total of people who will be and which parts of the country will be visiting India post-COVID. Like any kind of if I try for the next 2 to 3 years.
That question has got to do a lot with data accumulation and not data science. That question is a very aspirational question. I'll still answer you. If you have the gumption to take the train around and go to every part of the country and meet the tourism departments of every state, invest 4 weeks of your life traveling across rather than Googling, and figure out the place where you want to send human beings to sustainable tourist places, eco-friendly places. Do a backpack. Connect directly with human beings in at least 5 to 6 states. Tourism departments, go and interview them. They have the data. I'm not an expert on sustainable tourism, but how to gather the data, I can tell you. First, which part of the country are you in?
Yeah, so Mumbai.
Have you been to the Mumbai tourism department or the Maharashtra tourism department?
Yeah, Churchgate.
Have you been and spoken to them?
So now, there's very vacancy on jobs and everything is so not possible.
Chinmay, 1 second. I'm not asking for a job. I'm asking you to go and ask the question you asked me.
Yes.
You can't get this question and answer sitting in the front of your laptop. Tourism is all about the physical experience, not booking on Make My Trip.
Definitely.
You have to go and speak to the tourism department of the state of Maharashtra. Maharashtra has Karjat, Khandala, Lonavala. Maharashtra has Dahisar. Maharashtra is a huge state, one of the biggest states in the country. The amount of tourism which flourish and thrive. I am on the board of 3 online tourism organizations. The youngsters of 27-year-old startups, they go and take the train, they go and talk to every tourism department to gather data. What is the eco-friendly hotel? What is the eco-friendly bungalow? Can they travel by train? What are the social norms and distancing I have to ask my tourists to travel? Then you figure out where you want to work or you want to open up a business. Data. Google can give you data, but you have to physically go and collect data. For that, you have to invest in yourself before you make a choice. Because your question is, where do I find the data? And to find the data, Google can give you conversion data. Google can give you visitor data on Vistara to Yatra to Make My Trip. But Google will not be able to give you what is Yatra and Make My Trips. Category and strategy guys thinking. They are physically present on the road, in the mountains, in the beaches.
Yes, sir.
Get out yourself from the 4 walls of your house. You will get your own answer.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
thank you. Yeah.
I think very interesting live example on how decision making is backed by data. So, to get your answers, why not accumulate that data and do some analysis?
Yes,
go
absolutely.
ahead, make it. So at an individual level. So thank you, Sauvik, for answering this question, taking this question up. And let's move on to Mahotsav. He's our last student from the panel today. Mahotsav, question.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Good evening, Sauvik Dada. It's an absolute honor and privilege to be talking with you and listening to you, everything that you have said about everything. I'm truly inspired, and I think every one of the people present here, all of them are truly, truly inspired. And I was specifically moved about the oxygen production by Tata and how crucial the role of data was in its production. I think data is being more and more valuable and essential in everything and anything. So following that, India is a growing superpower and where both infrastructures and technology are developing together. And data being the new oil, how can India use this new oil with the help of data science to shape its future? And where can we see you, Sauvik Dada, and Tata Digital in all of this?
Tata Digital will play a big part in making India 2.0. Like I played a big part in building Geo and Tata Click, all homegrown stack without a single American influence. Tata Digital will play a big part and a humongous part in India's next internet ecosystem, which is going to come in the next 3 to 4 years. Where is India heading? It's a very good question. Mahotsav, what do you do? Tell me 3 things you like in life. I really love this question. 3 things which comes to your life. Knee-jerk answers. 3 things which fascinates you in life.
I think the spirituality and religion inspires me a lot. Even though it's unorthodox and in the field of technology, it's not usually considered, but I feel very close to me. And physics, astronomy, cosmos, everything that is unknown. Mystery is always a key factor in my life. It always has been and it always will be. And
I got my answer. Let me ask a unanimous question before I answer Mahotsav's question. And I need a raise of hands on the chat window. Will India matter to the whole world? A big show of hands will do its job. We've got vaccinated more than the population of US. And there are no political biases. Will India matter in the next 20 years, 30 years to this planet? Whoever, agnostic to party. We are pivoting as a country thanks to people like yourselves.
Yes, I think India has already mattered.
No, Mahotsav, I've got your question.
Yeah,
Keep muted. I will answer your question in a second. Okay, makes sense. So, Mahotsav, just switch on your camera. Let me speak to you. So India will matter. India will matter phenomenally. How India is going to be there today, tomorrow. See, India's biggest strength is data. India's biggest weakness, people think, is population. But do Google how every year for the last 10 years, what is the percentage every 3 months, which we call quarter by quarter, people are coming out of the poverty line. When I was growing up, there was no internet. I'm 45, not that old. But we grew up in a non-internet era. We grew up in a non-optical fiber era. We grew up in a non-broadband era. And a brain drain happened. Every possible individual wanted to do their engineering MBA and fly off to US and make money for the Microsofts and Googles of the world, which is great, and have a happy life, which is absolutely fine by all of us. Suddenly, in the last 10 years, nobody wants to go and settle down. Everybody wants to go get the exposure, learn from the best, and wants to come back and build their own startup or build another organization for the worlds of Reliance, Tatas, Adanis, Mahindras, Vedantas of the world. Wow. Suddenly, 1,000 people like us who spent and made billions of dollars for the Brits and the Yankees have started building it and started working from Aru Valley to Military Road in Andheri East. It's not showing that. There's probably about 10,000 of us right now who has come back. Infrastructure-wise, India is weak because India is a continent. The physical size of India is more than Western Europe. The physical size of Maharashtra is 1x more than United Kingdom. India is a continent. We call ourselves subcontinent. Infrastructure of Delhi, Mumbai, Calcutta, Bangalore, Jaipur will take time. When I say infrastructure, electricity, water, optical fiber, broadband, internet, education, schools, colleges cannot happen in the interiors of Trichy or in the interiors of Shiliguri or Madurai if there is no human intention. Is it going to happen by 2030? Maybe 60%. Will India be able to sustain like China's 1.52 billion? Yes. By when? Maybe 2035. But then another 100 years, the Indians will rule. We will rule about 40% of the planet by the next 10 years. When I say the word rule, it's a strong word. We will say economically. We will feed our own people. We will give jobs to our own people. I wouldn't want another. There could be hundreds and thousands of Americans and European companies who will come and invest, but they will have to work here and make their headquarters here, like Google's made it. Mountain View and the headquarters in Hyderabad have equal strength. TCS has the same strength in Sirusari in Chennai, like the way TCS has got the same strength in Santa Clara in the valley. Read about India. Read a book called The Ganga by Sudipto Sen, who defines how Ganga changed India's behavioral, religious, spiritual, political, unit economics of India. And India will pivot. India is pivoting, India will pivot. 7 golds will turn into 70 golds. It's not only cricket India will pivot. India will pivot in music. Indian owners will be the owners of labels in Hollywood. Indian owners are already starting to own. Microsoft CEO, an Indian. Adobe CEO, an Indian. PepsiCo CEO, an Indian. Google CEO, an Indian. Already it's happening without you guys realizing it. The power of the Indian brain is taken over NASA. You all know, if every Indian leaves NASA, NASA will be weaker than ISRO for that matter. But ISRO is becoming very powerful. Our manufacturing is becoming powerful. Our electrical vehicles don't need Tesla to come and invest in this country, though they are. Observe India's growth, how creepishly it is growing in every industry. Tell me one country in the world who has got vaccinated 60 crore. 60 crore. America's population is 35 crore. England's population is 6 crore. Covishield, Covaxin, who cares? We vaccinated and we saved a lot of lives because we lost a lot of lives. India's infrastructure and India's people strength are India's biggest strengths. It's like Saurav Ganguly or Sachin Tendulkar. Their front foot drive and their cover drive, it was their weakest strength. They used to get out the most on their biggest strengths. So we'll be aggressive. We'll be extremely aggressive. We will take away businesses from China. America has to come and open up organizations here. You will get American salaries, which in today's day and age has started happening. You should see the salaries a product manager, a data scientist gets in internet businesses and enterprise businesses. India is pivoting, paradigm shift is happening. It's a transition where you guys will learn data science.
Great.
That's where we are. I can go on India for the next 300 hours because I left everything, a cushy MD job after 23 hours and came back to India just for the love of India without having any political affiliation, for the love of the country. If you see, those are hand drawings in my wall. And like there are some Americans, there is some inventors, and on the far corner, there is Ratan Tata and Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose.
Yeah.
Read about your country and the world.
Absolutely. And such a perfect sort of day to talk about this. It is Independence Day today. So, we want our young aspirants to start reading about India more than aspiring that, going and working abroad. So it's been a great, incredible conversation. And as much as I would like to continue the conversation, we do have a hard stop. It is Sunday evening. So it's been a wonderful privilege to have you, Sauvik sir. And thank you so much for answering all the questions. And it's been a wonderful experience.
I just want to say that be obsessed, be paranoid, be maniacal about whatever you want to do in life. More importantly, the way you love your mother and father and your sister and your wife and girlfriends. Don't do anything which you don't love. If you love data, fall in love. It's listening to a music of Arijit Singh and you fall in love with that sound. Fall in love like that with data, with technology, with internet businesses, with science, and enrich yourselves. Where every one of you can talk to 1,000 more. Talk with so much passion and obsession about data, about technology. One last thought. Stop dreaming. Dreams are fake. Start visualizing your future. And it's T-1. You walk back from the next minute after this call.
That's an interesting, I think we could make that motto for our coming years. And thank you so much for that thoughtful conversation. And we'll sort of wrap up here. Thank you everybody in the audience to take this time out and make it to today's session. We hope it's been enlightening for you as much as it has been for us. And there is a small feedback form that we have shared on the chat. It's going to take you 2 minutes. Let us know how has been your experience and how we can improve and what would you like to hear about in our upcoming series. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Also, for everybody who's still joined in, I see a lot of students who are from our own aspiring data science and joining fresh to the course of bachelor's or post-graduation data science. So we will be having a small discussion tomorrow. So everybody who's interested in the courses, in the degree programs like a BSc and an MSc in data science, we will drop a WhatsApp message to all of you if you're interested to join in and know more about the course, because the admissions are right now open. If you'd like to have a conversation regarding it, you, your parents, will be happy to connect live with you tomorrow. And based on your revert, we will plan a meeting and take it forward. So thank you so much. If anything from your end, do share it through the chat, or you have our contact details, reach out to us. Thanks everybody. So it's a wrap from my end.